So I was introduced as the Vice President of Innovation and Design at Click, but in fact I was until last week. And now I have a new role, and I've moved in as an independent analyst and consultant, advising companies with my own business called TreeHive Strategy. And I had 6 fantastic years at Click, where I think we made a tremendous difference in the world of business intelligence and analytics. And it's very appropriate for me that my first presentation as an independent should actually be to an audience in India where I've had so much time and so much success and so much appreciation of the work that's done here when I was with Click and with Microsoft before that. So today I want to talk about the future of business intelligence and what that actually means. It's quite a big subject, as you can imagine. But I think we can sum up the future of business intelligence very simply. Let's think a little bit about the past. The past of business intelligence was that we used to call it decision support. And many years ago we called it decision support, long before we called it business intelligence. We talked about decision support systems. And then we added data warehouses, and the marketing people started to talk about business intelligence. And then we started talking about discovery and business discovery. But you know what? We still do decision support. The past of business intelligence is still about supporting business users to make better decisions. Even though we talk about all the new technologies, big data, and so on, when you apply business intelligence to that, you're essentially supporting people in making decisions. But I think we can go beyond that. I think the future of business intelligence can be summed up very simply as intelligent business. We're going to move businesses from being organizations where human beings made all the decisions and drove the business in a very structured way, to businesses which are themselves intelligent, which have intelligent processes built into the business, and where human beings have instead the insight and oversight of the strategy and direction and tactics of the business. But the business itself may actually become almost like an intelligent entity of its own, with its own rules and its own functions and its own structures. And we can already see this in many of the financial services business and in intelligent manufacturing, and increasingly in online businesses of all sorts which do marketing and pricing of offers in an intelligent way. So I'm very excited by the future of business intelligence as we move into this new model of intelligent business. Now, what do I actually mean by intelligent business? What is intelligence in this context? I think it's important to break this down, and of course there's many definitions of intelligence. I have my own sort of little kind of pattern that I use to describe an intelligent process. And it's quite simply this. Intelligence involves insight. If you don't understand something, then you're not really going to be intelligent. You can have a lot of knowledge. You can have a lot of information. You can know a lot of facts. But if you don't understand those facts, then you're not really intelligent. When I was a kid, very small, I used to, I love, like a lot of children, I like dinosaurs. And I knew the names of all these dinosaurs. I was 6 years old, and I could tell you what a brontosaurus was, or a pterodactyl, or a pteranodon, or whatever, a megalosaurus, or a tyrannosaurus, and I could spell all these words. The truth was, I didn't know anything about dinosaurs. I just knew the names of all these things. I had no insight. I had no understanding. Of course, I was kind of probably a fairly smart kid, but that's not real intelligence. That's not insight and understanding. So intelligence for me is not just facts and information. It's understanding and insight. And from that understanding and insight, you then get foresight, the ability to predict what's going to happen, to understand what the future might hold, and therefore to make better decisions about the future. And if you can understand where you are today and what has happened through insight, and if you can understand what may happen in the future, and you have foresight, then you need a third quality to be intelligent as a person or as a business. And that third quality is adaptability. You have to be able to adjust to the future. You might see the car racing towards you, but if you don't get out of the way, you're not really very intelligent. You have to be able to adapt to this scenario. And so businesses have to be able to be adaptable in order to be intelligent. That requires insight and foresight with that additional skill. There's a fourth part, which in some ways I don't think of as part of intelligence. I actually think of it almost as being something else. But it's wisdom. Human wisdom. The wisdom that we learn from our parents, the wisdom that we learn from our colleagues, the wisdom that we learn from more experienced mentors. That wisdom is not just insight and foresight and adaptability. It comes from having seen it many times. It comes from having learned from it. It comes from having learned from many of bitter mistakes. And you can't build that into a business so easily. That's a human element. And so for me, the intelligent business has insight, foresight, and adaptability. But we still need human beings in those roles, because it's only human beings that can bring wisdom to those scenarios. And if you think of the way in which we structure data in our businesses, this is reflected. We can use data to make decisions. If you go to the bank nowadays and ask for a loan, there's a very good chance that that just gets run through an algorithm, and it's a computer that decides whether you get the loan or not. Because that's an easy decision to automate. You can plug in some rules, and you'll get an answer out. The bank has tactical decisions, which are set from headquarters and management about targets that they need to reach and incentives that they need to give. And that may be done by human beings, but increasingly even those systems can be automated. Incentives can be managed in an automated way or an adaptive way. But the senior directors of the bank, the people who decide what new markets we're going to enter, what new products are we going to create, what new services should we offer, that doesn't just come from information, it doesn't just come from data. It comes from wisdom, it comes from human insight, and it also comes from human risk-taking, the ability to make really big, tough decisions. So an intelligent business doesn't replace human beings, but it uses human beings in a new way. It uses human beings for the qualities of wisdom, while the business itself can take on the insight, foresight, and adaptability through the better application of data and analysis. And that's very important for me, because I want to tell you that every company today is a data company. I don't care what you do. I don't care what your business is. Every one of your customers is a data company. We all have data. Even as individuals, we have data. I walk around with my iPhone in my pocket, and it's constantly generating data, even if it's just the number of steps I've taken in a day. Every business today generates data. We have data about our processes. We have data about our suppliers. We have data about our customers. We have data about our competitors. There's social media data out there. There's market information. There's weather information. Every single company is a data company in some way. And if they don't think of themselves as a data company, then they're losing a competitive advantage. Because it's companies who know they've got data and know they can take advantage of data that are going to succeed. So every company, no matter what you do, is a data company. Any data company can therefore become an analytics company. Because what's an analytics company? It's just a company that applies insight and foresight, intelligence and adaptability to the data they've got. If you've got data, then analyzing it and providing the analytic tools that will help you to make better decisions, now you become an analytics-driven company. So every company, every one of your customers can move from being a data company to being an analytics company. And then take it further, if you're an analytics company and you start to apply advanced intelligence, you start to apply advanced analytics to this problem, you start to apply predictive analytics and advanced metrics and advanced statistics and modeling, now you've become an intelligent company. Now you're building in the rules and adaptability to do that. So this is not some pipe dream about what happens in the future. You can move very easily from being a data company, to being an analytic company, to being an intelligent company. And it requires some very simple steps. It requires some very simple tools and materials to make it happen. We can get there simply by applying, I think, three things that are very important, by focusing on three strategies. People, and tools, and data. These are the three elements that are necessary to any intelligent analytics data company. The first problem of people is actually solving itself. Because almost every new computer science student who comes out of a college, anywhere in the world, is now not only studying elements of IT and elements of administration and management and programming, almost everyone is coming out with some understanding of big data and analytics and advanced analytics and modeling and statistics. A few years ago, the number one concern of IT managers was security. Today, the number one concern of IT managers is how do I provision data for analytics? And so this feeds back into universities and back into colleges. They need to supply people with those tools. So although today, people with analytic skills may be expensive and special people in the workforce, very quickly, in the next few years, this will become a base level of experience. The customers at the companies that I advise, I have a very simple rule that I tell them, which is do not employ any new developer who does not have some data mining, some predictive analytics, some big data, or some analytic knowledge. If they don't have analytics, don't have them as a developer. There's plenty of older developers in your company who've already got advanced development skills. What you need is that new level of skill. Just in the same way as a few years ago, you wouldn't have employed somebody who didn't have the ability to work in a visual environment, didn't have the ability to work in mobile. Nowadays, you would want a developer who hadn't got experience of working on mobile devices. In the future, don't have a developer who doesn't have experience of analytics, because analytics is the next gold mine that will transform our businesses. So the new workforce is coming. And over the years, that got more and more agile. And so nowadays, we have these self-service systems, like Click, highly adaptable, easy to deploy, easy to learn. Business users can spin up their own systems, especially on cloud, with almost no barrier to entry. They can just get started. I sat down last week and just as an experiment, I decided on my first day out of my job in a new business, what was I going to do in the first day? I sat down and I set up 5 virtual servers with 5 different analytic tools on them, just to see what the experience was like. And I was done by lunchtime. By lunchtime, I had installed 5 analytic systems and was running them on Amazon Cloud, Rackspace, and on Microsoft Azure. Now, when I worked at Microsoft in the data mining team, if I wanted a new server, I had to sign a requisition and get my manager to approve it, and then it would be 2 weeks until the box arrived. And it was an expensive process, and then I'd need to install the software, and doing all those clicks to install the software would take, a long time. It would take you all day to install one server. It would take you 2 weeks to order a server. My first day of business, I set up 5 servers before lunchtime. That's the tools that we have nowadays. And the analytic tools that you build on top of that are there too. They're also genuinely self-service. You can get up and running with a tool like Click before lunch. And even if you sleep in late, it's a tremendously high performance tools. And those are the tools that we're now used to. Those are the tools that your business users demand. That's the tools that they're expecting to use, because when they come out of college, not out of the IT school, but out of the business school, they're already used to using those tools. The next thing we need is data. And the data infrastructure has gone through a similar transformation. Data used to be the domain of IT, because only IT understood how to get so much data together into one place, how to handle the protocols, how to handle the storage, how to handle the querying of that data, and how to structure it in order to get the best performance out of it. But nowadays, within memory computing, nowadays with fast networks, nowadays with agile solid-state storage or hybrid cloud storage, you can throw almost any amount of data at a system. You can query that data really quickly, and the visual front-end tools make it very, very efficient for a business user to do this work. This is no longer the domain of the IT department. Business users can do this on their own. And what that means is that we transform the way in which we think about business data storage. The data warehouse is still essential. You still need the data warehouse for your central system of record, for your financial data, for your HR data, for maybe your core sales systems that need to record very large amounts of data, and very importantly, need to keep it over a long period of time. Data warehouse is there not just to store a large amount of data, but to store an archive of data over many years that you can go back and examine your sales over a 10-year period. Or go back when the taxman comes and has a question, and go back and examine the system 12 years ago and tell them exactly what the status of the system was at that time. Warehouses are about history, they're about structure, and they're about having that rigid system, a system that doesn't change over many years, precisely because it's been designed to represent the core function of the business. But at the front end, where business users are facing challenges that change every day, they need something more adaptable. And the Discovery Hub, the model that TimeXtender we'll be talking about today, is actually a very effective way of presenting data in a very diverse form to business users. If you work with a tool like Click at the front end, then you have a data layer where you can make some very smart decisions already using data. You can put lots of data in there, you can analyze it, and it acts almost like a cache for the front end of the Click system. But when you have to start taking larger data warehouse extracts, when you have to start bringing data in from many different sources, and when you have to start serving more than just one tool, in other words, your business users aren't just using Click, they're also using Excel. They're also using perhaps some specialized tool for doing graph analysis or for doing predictions in the insurance market, some specialized environment that you've got. Then you need a data store which can serve all of those users. You still need to serve your core business intelligence functions in Click, but you may need to serve other functions too. Then that's where the hub becomes effective. And it's not the data warehouse that solves those problems, because the data warehouse is designed to solve those problems. The data warehouse is designed to solve the problem of how do I store highly structured data over a long period of time in order to give business continuity over my core systems. But they're not providing the how do I spin up a quick data analytic to run this quarter's campaign. I want to run something for the winter campaign. I want to set up some simple customer analysis. I want to track the performance of that campaign. How do I do that and then throw that system away when the winter campaign is over? That's where you need a technology like the Discovery Hub for doing that. So people, tools, and data are the core of that system. But the last thing that we mustn't forget is governance. Whenever I talk to IT about self-service, the question I always get back is, oh yes, but we can't manage that. It's chaos if you give business users that control. That's again where tools like Click, with governance systems built in, and an infrastructure like the Discovery Hub, where data can be centralized but still be agile, gives you control of governance. Governance is not about, governance used to be about stopping bad things happening. I used to say that the change in governance in the IT world is from being gatekeepers to shopkeepers. The gatekeeper's job is to keep bad people out. And so governance was entirely represented as a way of building a wall around your data to prevent people getting in so that data didn't get out. But if you think about that, if you think about the way we talk about it, I give you access to my data. I control the data and I let you in. That model treats everybody in your business as a bad person. Now there are some systems, the core financial systems, the core tax systems and so on, which need to be structured that way. Private customer information needs to be protected in that way. But the information that you need for analytics, the information that you need to make better decisions, we should be acting instead of gatekeepers as shopkeepers, saying, come and look at our data. It's great, come and try it. You can learn things from here. The job of the shopkeeper isn't to stop bad people getting in, it's to make sure the right people come in. They welcome the right people in because they make the data available to them in a way that people want to use it. And that's when you turn a business from being just a data business into an analytic business. When there's a dynamic that says, we want you to do this. We want you to do this with the analysis with our data. So that's a very brief, but I think a lot of material in a sense for you to think about, right? The future of business intelligence. For me, let me just put it as simply as this. The future of business intelligence is intelligent business. And what you're going to hear about today, I think, is a really important step towards taking not just you, but every single one of your partners and customers and all the organizational units within your customers on that journey towards intelligent business. and I hope you enjoy the rest of the day, and I'm sure you'll learn a lot from it. Thank you very much.